Hey, so looking online, I could not find a single video to help me install these SW-Motech upper and lower crash bars onto my 2020 R1250gs, so I figured I might as well make a video. So the first pitfall you're going to encounter due to the crappy instructions that you're going to get are which bracket do you use for which side. So the smaller bracket, that's for a different bike. That's for the R1250R. So we're going to put that aside. Now we have two brackets. Now the brackets are the same from the little hole down. And the only difference is the length going up into the oval hole. And with some research, I finally figured out that the left side, the side you're going to be installing first, is the smaller bracket, and the right side is the longer bracket. Okay, we're just kind of hanging this out here. The first step is going to be to connect the proper lobe to behind here. And one pitfall is that this does not use the M10 screws. It uses the smaller 30mm M8 screws. Okay, the next step is going to be using a 30mm bolt with a cap nut and a washer, and we're going to be at least hanging the crash bar from here. This is very loose. Measure the bolts, because the bolts are all important in size and they're quite close to each other in size. Okay, we're just gently hanging the crash bar from one point, and this is with the 30mm bolt, cap nut, and a washer. And so far, the nut up here and the nut down here do not get thread locker. The next step is going to be the lower front attachment. So it's hanging there, and that is going to use the 50mm bolt. Measure them. And the small spacer and a washer, and the hole it's going in is threaded, but we're going to do that, and this bolt gets blue thread locker. So here it is. We'll just finger tighten this. And keep it nice and loose. We'll tighten all of this later. The next step is going to be removing the long bolt at the top rear that will be the mounting point for this. So we have to remove the BMW parts. So inside there is a 17mm nut, and I'm using a breaker bar, and it's quite challenging to turn it. I might have to fix the other side. All right, I used some muscle, and I got the bolt off, and it just pushes through. And we can pick it up at the other side. You can see it had thread locker on it. So, woo, I'm a little winded. Now we're going to use the long spacer right here and get that right up against there. And then we use the super long bolt that it comes with. No thread locker, which I'm surprised at, but it says it right in the instructions. No thread locker. Also, no washers. So that's nice. So this BMW part has to be removed to get the bottom piece on. So I had to remove the giant bolt that I just put in to get to this, because this was in the way. But that was just real simple. So this is the 55mm bolt with a washer. Goes right there. And the smaller spacer goes in here and then that screws down. And then once we get that down, we can replace the spacer and the giant bolt. And one thing I forgot to mention, this lower rear bolt on the left, it also has thread locker. So the thread locker seems to go on the bolts that go into threads in the engine block. All right, now we're on the right side of the bike, and we're gonna connect our other bracket with the M8 screw on top. And then we're gonna use that's a 30mm M8 screw. I'm just gonna finger tight it for now. Now we can hang the right-sided crash bar. This looks familiar. This is that long bolt coming from the other side. And we can put the spacer on. And then we can hang the crash bar like that, just gently, so we can get a free hand. All right, so now we got this attached, and now we're gonna use the 30mm M10 bolt to hang that on. And then we're gonna use the cap nut in the back and just finger tight. Okay, so next thing we have to do is remove the front bolt, just like the other side. And we're gonna do that with a T50 Torx wrench. Okay, that's out. And you can see this is gonna just go right there. So we'll sit that on there for now. So now we're gonna use an M10 55mm bolt right through here. And then we're gonna use the smaller spacer in the back and finger tight it. Now we're at the lower front. This is the the 45mm M10 with a washer and thread locker. And we're going to use that medium spacer right in here. And again, finger tight. So the final bolt is washer. And I was wondering why there's no thread locker on here, but it's a nylock. And that just goes right on here. Finger tight for now. You're gonna have to grip the other side of that to get that tight. And now the crash bars are on, and the instructions tell you what order to tighten this. All right, now we're going to install the upper crash bars. And right next to the headlight down here along the gray plastic, there's a little hexagonal hole that we're going to have to get a washer onto. And then slipping in from the side, we're going to get one of the 20mm. And there it is, right there. And now you can see we got it there and we got it there. Those little hexagonal holes have a 20mm M8 with a washer in them. And we're gonna see those from below. Okay, we're looking under the beak. And as you can see, there's the screw we just put in. And we're going to be screwing this, the one with the notches, in there, but it needs a little bit of thread locker. So we're going to just put a drop of thread locker down in here. And then we're going to screw it on, finger tight, just till it stays. And we're going to do that to the other one as well, also with thread locker. So now we're underneath the beak, and you can see the cylinders that we just attached. With this facing backwards and with the welded nut up, we're going to affix this to this with the 20mm M8 with thread locker. Now, with these attached, we're going to take the 20mm M8, another one, put it through here, and we're going to finger tight screw that underneath here, and then you can let go. And that other side, you'll see, goes over to there, to that one, and we're going to attach it on that side as well. All right, now we're going to attach this to this with the 20mm finger tight. And then same thing, this up through this. To this, also finger tight. Okay, now you can clearly see where the interface is between the upper and the lower. This short bolt that goes through the bike and to the top of that lobed bracket needs to come out, and all you're doing is replacing it with this bolt that's going to go through here and then through there. All right, so we're gonna pass this all the way through here, and then gonna get it to go through the bike. Little bit of wiggle. And then we're gonna put this lobed bracket and couple of threads, all you need, because you're going to tighten it. And now that interfaces the upper and the lower brackets, the lower crash bars. Now on the right side of the bike, same thing. We've got that upper screw here, and we're going to pass the long screw through there. We're going to remove this screw, and we're going to tighten that. All right, we are done. And as you can see, still a little loose, but crash bars are on. And I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to tighten every bolt to the specified torque that is laid out in the manual in the order they tell you to. I'm gonna do that right now.